All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Friday night. You know what that means. It's time for the number one sports podcast in the world. It's time for Sports for You. Live on YouTube. I'm John. Mark's on the way. Of course, my man Nick Freeze is on assignment. He'll be back next week. We're live on your TV screens, your mobile devices, your laptops, your desktops, on YouTube, X, and on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to Sports for You podcast on YouTube. Like us on Facebook at Sports for You Podcast. Follow us on X and Instagram at Sports for You Podcast. You can follow me at John Watson 0984 on Twitter and on X and Instagram. Of course, follow Mark on Instagram at High on Mark and at High on Mark 1 on X. Follow Nick on X and Instagram at 99 Gorilla. Our girl Bella's in the house. Brick City in the building. We're continuing, as you know, it's August. You know that time of the year. It's time for the Sports for You two-a-days. We started out on Tuesday with the NFC EAST. So shout out to the podcast Link Philly crew. My man, I am Hype, Nye Charles, Ty Moore. They was here to talking little Eagles and Cowboys. We're going to keep that conversation going. With also, we're going to talk to AFC East. And to kick us off, the first guest is my man Jason from Florida. Of course, he's the co-host of the Shoots and Ladder podcast with his partner Desiree John. My man Jason kuruvilla is here. Jason, introduce yourself to the Sports for You family, sir.
Absolutely. Hey, my name is Jason, lifelong Dolphins fan, based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I am the co-host of Shoots and Ladders. Listen, thank you so much for having me. I am excited about this season.
Thank you. You tell them where they can. You tell them right now, and then we'll tell them at the end of your interview where they can follow you on social and where they can follow Shoots and Ladders also on social.
Absolutely, I would love to do so. Oh, sure. You can.
All right. So let's start off first. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell them where they can follow you on social media.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Okay. You can actually follow us on the Instagram at the Shoots and Ladders as well as YouTube. We're also on Spotify at the Shoots and Ladders.
All right. So let's start. Obviously, me and you here. We're both wrestling fans, and we're gonna definitely get into the Dolphins. I see already you got questions about because we want to hear your thoughts on Tua. That's my girl Christian Love. She's gonna be on with us next week to talk about the Bears and the NFC North. First of all, how did Shoots and Ladders come about, and tell us about your wrestling fandom, and how long y'all been doing this podcast?
Absolutely. So, I actually used to work for Fox Sports for 7 years. I was a video producer, editor. I created the promos for the Marlins, for the Rays, for the Heat, for the Magic, for the Panthers, and the Lightning. Editing was such a fun thing and a fun time for my life. I ended up leaving to jump over to sales because it was more lucrative. But that aspect never left me. I know I've always been a fan of television. I've always been a fan of sports. Always of all types of sports, obviously wrestling and football for sure. That being said, I initially actually thought about doing a podcast on pro football and college football, and I was trying to partner with other people first. A lot of people, I know I had a couple of opportunities, but nothing really kind of sustained. And I just kind of thought about what if I would do something kind of on my own and bring someone on. So that's when I kind of Des and I have been friends ever since Florida State, and her and I collectively kept talking about, doing a podcast. And sure enough, things kind of kept going and going and going, and God's good because we actually launched a podcast a month and a half ago that happened to be the same weekend of WrestleCon. So wow. Our very first episode is a recap of her meeting Ron Simmons, Papa Shango, who actually Charles Wright, who did an awesome promo for us. In addition to that, she met Eric Bischoff. Yeah, absolutely. So she made a lot of great connections. Charles Wright actually did a promo for us. In addition to that, I'm actually friends with Diamond Dallas Page's daughter. Good friends with her. So that's another connection I have. We actually just did an interview with Merrick Brave, who runs a promotion with Seth Rollins. We just had him as a guest. So it seems like we actually are more connected in the wrestling world. We're going to have other former professional wrestlers on the podcast. So this is just one of those things where Everything's just kind of connected together. And I've been a wrestling fan since I was 3. Funny enough, our latest episode is about how Des and I got into wrestling, and I can only speak volumes with how awesome Desiree is. And we're grinding away, and we have a full head of steam ahead of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get into the Dolphins, give us your thoughts on how'd you feel about SummerSlam? How'd you feel coming out of SummerSlam?
So I was actually pleasantly surprised. We usually do a recap of all the different PLEs, and specifically with SummerSlam, every match kind of actually eclipsed my expectations. One thing I'll actually say is I was a little surprised that the card wasn't as long as it generally is, but I actually appreciated that. In general, this is sort of an overall statement. I think with Triple H at the helm, creative has been a lot better. I think the storylines are I think the storylines are way better overall. I love the title changes, and they left it in a way where not all the correct matches are still going to continue to go on. We actually, Des gave SummerSlam an A. I actually gave it a B+, and our initial projections where we thought it was going to be a B. So it definitely surpassed our expectations, which is great because it is a premier PLE. So.
Absolutely. How you feel about it going in the next few years? It's going to be going to two nights like Mania.
So I would say, I think it's going to be a good thing. And I say that just because anytime with these premier PLEs, so far they've done a good job as far as building up the cards and the matches to kind of fill it in the right way. So, I think doing it 2 nights for as long as they don't do it for every single event and they kind of pick and choose, I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely, I enjoyed it. Obviously, we did our watch along we did our Sports4U watch along, and it was just a good show. Me and my man Terrell, and now Mark's in the building. Mark's actually walking in. He just pull it up. He's walking in the door right now. But it was a good night. Shout out my man Dale, who from Rest in the World podcast. He co-hosted with us, and we had a good night. We had a good show that night. Obviously, we totally lost it when we saw Roman Reigns make his return, and it was just
it seems like
I'll be really intrigued to see how things play out tonight on SmackDown. I'm gonna check it out after the show but I'm really intrigued to see how these go tonight. I've seen the card, I've seen what's being promoted, and it seemed like we're gonna be in for an interesting ride. I said I was telling my daughter's mother, and I was telling Trail this. This is a Roman Reigns that we've been waiting the last 10 years. This Roman Reigns is 10 years in the making. Obviously, we know this is one of the most iconic heel runs, and of course, him being one of the most iconic championship runs in pro wrestling history. But this run he's going to have as a face is what we wanted what we really wanted when we first parted from the Shield. But obviously, about creative got involved and tried to make him out to be something that he wasn't. But this Roman Reigns is a made man. The swagger's there and everything is there. And ladies and gentlemen, walking into the studio, repping Bill's Mafia, Mark is in the building. What up, Mark? Mark, we got my man Jason here from Florida. Here, Jason's it's 2/3 of the Sports4U podcast. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Well, it's good, bro. How about you?
I'm pretty good.
All right, so now we got our 2 AFC EAST aficionados here. So let's go ahead and get there. First, I saw our girl Chrissy. She had an interesting question as first, and that is, I would love to hear your thoughts on Tua. So let's first start off. You gave me a lot of notes that you discussed, and that was pretty good. What was your thoughts first on Tua's contract?
So this is obviously controversial for a couple different reasons. Ultimately, I think it had to get done. You could have made the argument they could have waited. They could have potentially franchise tagged him or wait until after the season. That could have been a mess itself. I kind of think in the grand scheme of things, like his contract was actually a little bit less than than obviously Trevor Lawrence. So I kind of think overall, I mean, I think they did the right thing overall. I mean, you can make the argument that they made a mistake. I understand that point too, but yeah, I think they did the right thing.
Okay.
I think I'm with you. I think that was a good idea too, especially who you get to replace him. That's always my question: is who you get to replace him?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And the other thing with that is, life's a game of politics, but I mean, Reek loves him. He straight up, he constantly vouches for him. So what message are you sending if you just bring in someone in anyway? Other, in addition to that, they actually brought this up earlier. Like, so I follow the Finsider very, very closely. I'm actually kind of friends with some of the guys that write. What, like, by far, I mean, I know our offense is predicated on getting the ball of him getting the ball out quickly, but the interior of the offensive line, if they kind of collapse, I mean, any quarterback is going to collapse with it. So,
right. How are you feeling about your offensive line? Obviously, got Armstead. Obviously, what did you feel your offensive line? Did y'all do enough to put enough offensive line help over to it between? Obviously, last year you stayed healthy from the year before dealing with the concussions to now going into this season where you guys were a playoff team, a wild card team, a division contender. Did Greer and Mike McDaniel do enough to protect Tua from future harm?
No. Point blank, no. And I say that because, Greer overall, where I would criticize him, listen, he obviously did great things. I mean, now hindsight's 2020, but he stole Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill is worth 4 first-rounders. Hats off to him for getting that. But one of the knocks I have on him is his mismanagement of draft capital. What I mean by that is this. We could have easily traded back in the first round with Detroit, because Detroit did that anyway, and acquired an additional pick. On top of that, I love Patrick. I like Patrick Paul as a player, and I've always said this. The way you crush the draft is getting the most bang out of your buck. Some people had Patrick Paul as a projected third, fourth rounder. They took him in the second. If you like the player that much, that's fine. But keep your mouth shut, trade back, get more picks, and double down in the position. So they really didn't do that. And now, from what it sounds like, Patrick Paul is a backup. Why? I mean, I understand he could be, quote-unquote, too tall to play guard. But to me, that's irrelevant. Right now, the interior of the offensive line is messed up. Obviously, we got Aaron Brewer. As of right now, listen, it's still early, and they, we can see what happens. Teron Armstead obviously has issues staying healthy, but they're going to have to address the interior offensive line. And I don't know if that's making trades or whatever the case is, but if you cannot do that, then the offense will be limited.
Okay. Let's speak. You brought up Tyreek Hill. Let's go there. First of all, what was your reaction to seeing him voted number 1 on NFL Top 100?
Well deserved. I genuinely mean that. And I'm not, obviously, I'm going to sound biased by saying that. But if you put in, and I've said this in general in sports, how do you judge a player in any sport? A player that strikes fear in you. And what I mean by that is I don't see any corner being able to cover him. I really can't. They can contain him, but only to a certain degree. Yeah, you can cheat with a safety. Maybe you can kind of run an extra spy, run along with them, but you can only do so much. I genuinely think it's well deserved. The other thing, in addition to that, generally speaking, you're always going to have a quarterback get that award and that honor, which rightfully so, and I understand that. But I think Tyreek Hill is way too dynamic, and I think it was well deserved.
So, what did you make of the new deal?
Loved it. It's worth it. So here's the thing: I'm actually very critical of contracts overall. General managers have a tendency to overpay for players. I'm on the flip end of that if you actually earn it. And he's actually earned every single dollar. I mean, and the other thing too, and I'm sure you guys have addressed this on the podcast, but like multiple times, the market resets every year.
Yep.
It does. The market resets every year. So he could be the highest paid now, but what does that mean in a year or two? Then, you may have to go do this whole song and dance again. But again, even for Tua, I mean, like in the next year or two, he may be the 9th highest paid quarterback. And so now, like the quarterback, the contract they just gave him, yeah. So, no, well deserved because he earned it. I mean, I think he's by far the best receiver in the NFL. Obviously, there's other great receivers, but I don't think it's close.
What are your expectations going into this season?
I mean, I am confident. All right, so here's the funny thing. I'm actually confident for a reason that most people may kind of overlook, especially the mainstream media, but mainly because I actually think the defense is going to surprise. I think Anthony Weaver is so far doing an amazing job. I think he was an underrated cog to the Baltimore Ravens wheel. And here's the funny thing. I know that we lost Wilkins. I know we lost Gink. I know we lost some players. But I got to be honest, our defense kind of underwhelmed last year. One of the biggest boneheaded things that I don't understand is we didn't place Jalen Ramsey against the best receivers opposite him, which made no sense. He's by far one of the best corners in the league. So that didn't make any sense. So I don't think we're going to see that with Weaver. Fangio, I know you're going to have an Eagles podcast. I'm kind of curious about their take on Fangio. At one point, I got to be honest, I just think he's overrated overall. And I got to be honest. I think he's overrated.
Let me say this. I had him as my head coach, and y'all know we had him as a head coach in Denver. Look, he wasn't built to be a head coach. I do think defensively, he's a good defensive coordinator. Now, will I put him up there with like a Wade Phillips or nobody? No, but I think if you got I don't know, maybe do you feel like do you feel like he had the personnel to run? I mean, I know when he was with us, our defense was cooking with Bradley Chubb, and obviously we traded Bradley Chubb, and we all know he's coming off the ACL, and you got Jalen Phillips coming off the Achilles and everything.
He's a baller. I like Jalen Phillips. He's a baller.
What did you feel? What did you feel was underwhelming about Fangio's tenure as y'all DC?
Okay, so a couple things. First off, we drafted Cam Smith as our second round pick, who basically got no slaps. We were basically playing undrafted free agents, which made no sense. I mean, throw a rookie out there. If they make mistakes, they make mistakes, but that made no sense whatsoever. But also, I mean, Jalen Ramsey, again, he could have easily have shadowed the best receiver. Instead, we had Howard. God bless Howard. He's going to be in the Dolphins Ring of Honor, but obviously he significantly lost a step. The other thing, too, Fangio has a tendency to be a little light on blitzing, which I'm actually in between when it comes to blitzing. I don't think you should over blitz. We had that problem with Josh Boyer, but I also think there's a time and a place, and there were many times where that didn't happen. And also, I got to be honest. I mean, like you're wearing the Bill stuff, but we get cooked by Buffalo, specifically running quarterbacks, and Fangio did not really have much of an answer for it. So. I think as a DC, well, here's the thing with Fangio as a DC. I think if you take a look at his overall resume, he's elite, but I mean, he is getting older. The game continues to change, so I kind of think he lost. I think he lost a step. I got to be honest with you. And if you look at what the players have actually said, he definitely did not connect with the players. And the older you get, and the younger the players get, there's going to be a disconnect.
Right. Well, okay. That's good stuff so far, Jay. So let's go to, and then we're going to transition to Mark to you.
No, wait a minute. Before we get off Miami, y'all got my boy over here, man. That's
Jordan Poyer.
I knew this was going to happen.
My guy Jordan Poyer, you know what I'm saying?
I knew
that's the heart right there, man. He's a baller, man.
No, he is. So here's the thing about Buffalo that I didn't understand. They kind of hit the reset button, but they're still trying to play for a chip. I mean, Tre'Davious White and Poyer, I mean, they cut a lot of guys on defense, and I didn't understand it. I mean,
for John to tell you, Tre'Davious White might have been my favorite player in the NFL.
Right.
I seen it coming. Back-to-back injuries. Like, he was coming off an injury, got hurt again. We wasn't going to pay him the money he wanted to get paid, so I knew that was going to happen. And then I always felt like we had the best safety duo in the NFL. And you can see they started to lose a step last year. The other safety was hurt. And then once I knew Jordan Poyer wasn't going to come back on whatever it was. But I said it's all love. I talk to his brother on Twitter all the time. So it's dope. Yeah, it's dope. Y'all got a player right there. He a dog.
Listen, so, I can honestly say that was by far one of my favorite free agent acquisitions. In addition to that, actually, I'm going to bring up a guy that we let walk, Brandon Jones, who now is with the Broncos. I liked him. Yeah, I liked him. I got to be honest, though. I wouldn't have paid him that contract. So
I like him, but I didn't like him at the expense of Justice Simmons.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I didn't like his contract, kind of like what you were saying about because, again, when it comes down to it's all about contracts. Okay, so here, I kind of wanted to talk about this if I can. I wanted to briefly, if you guys haven't mentioned this before, I call it the second contract fallout, which is basically, generally speaking, players will always get, players after, the rookie contract get their second contract, which is usually a really, really hefty contract. Rightfully so. I'm all about these guys getting paid. However, more times than not, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, usually these guys get released after 2 years. And I cannot stress this enough. It's not because of their performance. It's because they haven't matched what their contract that they're given. But that's not their fault because the contract is unrealistic to begin with.
Facts.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, two of the guys that we let walk. I love Wilkins. 140 is a lot. But I kind of see. But I'm telling you guys right now, he's going to get released in 2 years unless he restructures. He's going to get released.
I can see that.
And even more so, what blew my mind. Because I always thought he was kind of good. Robert Hunt getting $100 million in Carolina just made no sense to me.
None at all.
Look, again, God bless them. I'm glad they got their money, but he's going to get released. He has to. They're going to wake up and say, wait a minute. Generally, the other thing that happens is these general managers, I mean, they're going to clean house and they get fired. So the new guy comes in, they're going to have to restructure and kind of do that song and dance. But the reason why I call the second contract fallout, the second these guys get cut, they're looking for a team to win, and they're willing to take significant less money because now they're chasing the ring. As much as I hate them, by far, New England mastered that strategy of the second contract fallout for years. And and we'd like to give Belichick and Brady like the credit and the roses for their dynasty. I'm not trying to take that away. But in the grand scheme of things, by far, the reason why New England was a dynasty was they were the most economically efficient franchise, which is why they were continuously able to win. And if you really deep dive on the numbers and look what they did, that's what they did. Buy low, sell high. It's a fundamental concept that works every time.
Yep. All right? Final question. Two questions. One, Christy asks, where do you rank Miami in your division? And number two, with me, what's the timetable you feel on Mike McDaniel?
So, and I got a Bills fan in front of me. No, I think we should win.
Go ahead.
No, I think we can win the division. I think we are going to win the division. It's funny that the odds makers have Buffalo and the Jets over us, which is weird. But Buffalo, I get. The Jets, I don't get them at all. I think they're going to be one of the biggest disappointments this year, but that's another conversation for another day. Listen, I genuinely think. But here's the funny thing. Again, I'm going to continue to say this. I really do think the defense is going to surprise a lot of people. I think Miami can actually win the division. Mike McDaniel. So hypothetically, and I'm playing like best case scenario, worst case scenario. Best case scenario, if he does win the division or even go to the playoffs, and he's not going anywhere for at least a year or two. If the team absolutely collapses, they're going to have to take an overall evaluation. But even if they miss the playoffs, I still think he gets at least another year. So
that was about to be my next question.
Yeah. It would be silly, to not give that type of grace, in my opinion.
If McDaniel's gone, is Chris Greer gone too?
100%. Generally speaking, a general manager only is allowed 2 head coaches per regime. So this would be his second. And again, listen, Chris Greer has done a lot of good, but his mismanagement of draft capital can ultimately, I think, will hurt him.
Let's go to League with Cheaters. Let's go there. Let's go to New England. I'll start with you, Mark. Obviously, this is a new era. We already saw how things left when Brady left. Obviously, went to Cam Newton, Mac Jones, and now it's Drake May. They brought back Jacoby Brissett. You got my guy Joe Milton in there. They drafted in the 6th round out of Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Belichick going, entering my guy Jerod Mayo from Tennessee. I'll start with you, Mark. What do you expect of this new era of the Patriots minus Belichick?
My expectation for them is to finish last in the division. Drake May, I'm not really sold on. I told y'all that before. I just don't think they have enough to really compete. Especially, not me being biased, but I do think the AFC East is a really good division. I just don't think they have enough offensively to compete. They defense go get after it. We know Jerod Mayo is Jerod Mayo. We know what he brings. But I just think offensively they don't have enough to compete with, like the Dolphins, the Bills, and we'll see what the Jets look like with a healthy Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with New England, though. Are they expected to win? I don't think so. Are they? I mean,
I think they expect to finish last in the division.
Yeah, and I would anything past 6 wins, I think, is a huge success. I mean, this is a full reset of the entire roster, so it's not. And again, they have they changed everything. So I'm not trying to just be a hater either, but again, you have to be realistic about where they are and what they've done. So
yeah.
And let's go to Jerod Mayo. You said obviously you're not sold on Drake May. My guy Jerod Mayo, Tennessee Ball Nation. He was like Belichick's favorite player, and he got the job. Obviously, this is something that the Patriots haven't had a new coach in almost 25 years. If you were talking to Patriots fans, Jason, which could be very unrealistic, what would you tell them in regards to having patience with Jerod Mayo?
Well, give him grace. I mean, you have to, again, if we were to rewind, again, the coach is going to coach, right? So, and he's obviously going to be graded specifically on what the defense does. But, I mean, this is a full rebuild, so you have to be patient with the entire regime. Again, if he goes below 6 wins, Yeah, I guess you can criticize, but to what degree? We're really have to, between you're going to have to at least give him 3 years to fully show what he can do.
I agree with that.
And also keep in mind the number. I think this kind of gets overlooked a lot. By far, one of the most important aspects of a head coach is who are the assistants you're going to hire. So did he hire the right offensive coordinator? Did that offensive coordinator hire the right quarterback coach, running back coach, offensive line? So again, you're kind of a CEO to a degree. So, that could either catapult him or kind of relegate him depending on those decisions. But again, make no mistake about it. To me, if the defense shows glaring weaknesses, that's how you judge them. But offensively, this is what you're stuck with. So,
Mark, you can give Jerome Mayo one bit of advice. It would be what?
Run the ball. Be dominant on defense.
Jason?
Yeah, I'd actually agree with that, to be completely honest with you. Shorten the game.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, New England, shorten the game. Yeah, generally speaking, New England has bad weather. So, this can actually work in your favor. So generally speaking, I think if they're going to win games, it's going to be 17-10, 16-13, some of those types of games.
All right, let's go to the Jets, and I'll start with you, Jason.
Welcome. Oh, wow.
All right, Jason. Obviously, we all know what they've been hoping for these last 2 seasons. Get Aaron Rodgers. His season gets cut short in 4 plays. Obviously, the Zach Wilson era was a disaster.
Yeah.
Realistically, what are we to make of the Jets? Obviously, it sounds like there's a disconnect with Aaron Rodgers and Salah. Obviously, even though the whole situation is going to Egypt or minicamp and blah, blah. And then him supposed to be him. I'm trying to say. Oh, he's saying that he won point in preseason. Somebody walk. I think I turn your speaker down something. Okay, there we go. Him saying that he didn't know that he wasn't playing in the preseason because he's accustomed to playing in the preseason, which it seems like it's a lot of miscommunication or a lot of stuff getting lost in translation. What are we gonna make of this Aaron Rodgers era when it's all said and done?
Okay, so I used to work for Fanatics. He was an exclusive athlete of ours. He's a weird guy, like point blank. So the miscommunication, if I had to guess, is going to be more on him than anyone else. I think it's a disaster. It was a disaster from day one. Mm-hmm. Now, aside for him, what did they do to address their offensive line? Because that was obvious. That's been a problem. Yeah.
I know they brought in. They brought in Tyron Smith, but obviously he's not the Tyron Smith. He's not the Tyron Smith of his heyday. I mean, that's sure. But I guess that was their way. And I think Morgan Moses they brought in Morgan Moses, but I don't see what they're going to do. And let's be clear, I'm the wrong person to ask anything on Nathaniel Hackett. I'm the wrong person to ask anything on Nathaniel Hackett. I give them credit; they beat us last year, and that was really on Sean Payton because he basically made himself like a jackass. But let me be clear: I'm the wrong person to ask anything on Nathaniel Hackett. He didn't deserve the job in Denver. He only got the job because somehow he convinced our GM, George Payton, he can deliver Aaron Rodgers. It didn't happen. That's how he ended up with Russell Wilson. And then it was a disaster. The season, he wasn't a leader of men. He was just seemed like he's just there because he's Aaron Rodgers. He's boys with Aaron Rodgers. And we got another person joining the conversation. We was talking Eagles earlier, but we're going to still keep on the AFC East. Our guy, he's family, therapy and sports. He's representing the Bird Gang. It's been a minute since we talked to him. Our boy Rells is in the building. Rells, what up?
Yo. What's good, fellas?
Good, brother.
Rells, salute. How you feeling?
Good, man. You know I'm drinking on.
All right. Well, guys, I got Jason from Florida. Jason is Rells. He's repping the Eagles.
What's going on, bro?
What's up, bro? Yeah, we're Dolphins
so
and Eagles are
about
trade
the
partners
right now. Rells, I want to get Jason's thoughts, but
you're a Dolphins fan?
Dolphins fan. Yeah, we seem to
I
always be trading.
I respect it.
We're basically trade partners every single year. The draft, everything. We're always trading players. So.
No, we definitely be trading.
Absolutely. Well, and I went to Florida State. So when you guys won the Super Bowl, you had a lot of our guys on your squad.
Yeah, big time.
Shout out to Nigel Bradham, John Sweat.
I'm glad you said Florida State, not Florida.
Oh no! I had fuck the Gators, bro.
That's what I'm talking about, Jay. That's out of here, man. Ain't them stupid But go ahead.
And trust me, bro. I live in Florida, so it's it's a big deal.
Are you closer to Tallahassee? I mean, you're a Seminole. So are you closer to Tallahassee? Or are you closer to Gainesville?
No. I'm closer. So I'm in Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is right next to Miami. Yeah. But there's a lot of alumni down here. So so there's a lot of alumni down here. So it's a good time. And again, college and pro, and I actually follow. I'm sure you guys do the same thing too. I follow a lot of Florida State guys who go to the league. So for a while it really was the Philadelphia Seminoles. We had especially on defense, we had so many guys on your squad, and and I hate the Patriots. So I was flipped when you guys beat them.
Dude, I listen. It was snowing up here, upstate New York, big time when that game was going on, and when we won, I was in my boxers. I had like a house full of like 30 people, and I jumped off my porch into the snowbank. And I was smacked. I was doing snow angels, and I cried because my grandfather didn't live to see the Eagles win a chip, the national championship. So it was a bittersweet moment, but it was definitely dope. Hope to do it again this year.
Sure.
So.
Oh man, it's gonna be a good season for sure.
Jay, before we get back to the Jets, I gotta ask, who's the greatest Seminole you've ever seen?
In person?
Yes.
Jeez, bro.
You guys had a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
When were you at Florida State?
It's two of them.
Okay. So that's the thing. All right. So I was there during the Chris Ricks era, so yuck. But I still would go to games and stuff. So the 2013 squad was just so dominant. And Jameis was the man when he played. We had Jameis, we had Kenny Shaw, we had Rashad Green, we had Telvin Smith, we had Jalen Ramsey was on that squad. Like it's this is a hard one.
I didn't mean to mention that. All right, we got our next person joining the show. Young boy in the building. He repping the Giants. So so I said, with the NFC and AFC school days, we got our boy Tay in the building. Tay, what up, man?
Yo, what's going on, people?
Good to see you, brother.
What's going on, bro?
Here repping, talking Eagles. We got my man Jason right here. He's talking Dolphins. So we're gonna get to AFC in a second, but let's go back to what I was saying, Jay. So you said Jameis obviously. Growing up, were you a Florida State fan growing up?
So here's the funny thing. Before I went to college, I was more of a pro sports fan than a college fan. And growing up in Florida, so I was more, as long as the Florida team won, I didn't mind. So, so Charlie Ward was special. If you want to ask just like guys I saw on television, I mean, Charlie Ward was just insane. I mean, he really was. Work done too. I
got Peter Ward.
Peter Ward?
I got Peter Ward.
Bro, I was just about to say. So I met him because I'm part of the Broward Seminole Club. And one of the coolest guys I've ever met. And I specifically asked him about the catch against Virginia Tech. And I asked him about it, and he goes, bro, I said, what were you thinking about that? Like, how did you keep that concentration when the guy was just mugging you? And he straight up was like, honestly, I don't remember. I just remember he was talking trash to me before I got that pass. And that's why I got in his face once I got it. And I said, yo, you're the man. Like, that was actually, if you want to talk about most dominant championship performances of any national
Yep.
championship.
Yep.
It's 1999 Peter Warwick against Virginia Tech, and I will argue that against anybody. The only other player that you could make that argument was when Vince Young won with Texas.
I was sick when Vince Young won Texas. I'm a USC fan.
I was about to say that.
Greatest game I ever seen.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to bad memories. But as far as
It's cool. I'm over it now.
That was the greatest.
I'm over it
Rells,
now.
I won $30 off that game. That was the greatest game I ever seen, man.
Oh man,
Greatest
yeah,
game I ever saw was USC Texas at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. So listen, I gotta get going soon. You guys have been awesome, but yeah, going back to the Jets. Yeah, it's gonna be a disaster. It really is. It's gonna be a disaster. Here's my prediction, and again, I'm not saying this is to be a hater. I think they're gonna underwhelm. You're gonna hear the New York media magnifies everything. You're gonna hear the biggest blowout ever. Aaron Rodgers is this, that, and the other. They're going to fire everyone. Joe Douglas. They're going to fire Robert Saleh, who I don't think is a bad coach. He just has a terrible situation.
Yes.
And I think, seriously, he has the if I had to guess, he probably didn't even want Aaron Rodgers. They just shoved him down his throat.
Yes.
And I really do think that. And
crazy, yeah.
Are you sure the coach is in a bad
If
situation?
Robert Saleh goes to a different team, if he leaves the Jets and goes to a different team, I think he's going to be way more successful because it will be his quarterback, his group of guys.
Well, and yeah, for sure. And the thing is, bro, their defense is actually solid.
Yeah.
The defense is solid. They have Breece Hall and
really good.
Garrett Wilson, right? So
yeah, they're like top 3.
Yeah, exactly. So the ignorant fan is going to blame him for this Aaron Rodgers nonsense when it's not his fault.
Well, Nathaniel Hackett suck as the OC. He don't got it no more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just yeah.
Rells, you know how I feel about Nathaniel Hackett. Y'all already know.
I know.
I just told Jay and Mark, man. Y'all already know how I feel about Nathaniel Hackett. Don't even ask me about him. That dude's not an OC. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's carrying Aaron Rodgers back.
Bro,
yo,
I'm not taking anything away from him because I know his dad was a coach. His dad was Paul Hackett. I know he comes from a pedigree with coaches. Paul Hackett was his dad. Paul Hackett coached at Pitt. He coached at SC. I know he coached my guy Scott Kaplan. That was his coach. But let's just be clear. Nathaniel Hackett only got that job because of Aaron Rodgers. He's not ready to be a head coach. He's not, and tell me when he's done as the offensive coordinator without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Before I let you go, Jake, I know you have the time. I wanted to hear Mark's take on the Bills when we come to that. Then we get you out of here. All right, Mark.
Absolutely, sounds good.
Obviously, it's going to be a different look. You got Keon Coleman. Someone turn their phone down. You got Keon Coleman. Obviously, Gabe Davis is going. You talked about Micah Hyde being going. We don't have Micah Hyde. By the way, Micah Hyde's still free agent. And shout out to KC. He gonna come on and talk about that. But Josh Allen's there. It was a lot of slander his way, saying he's overrated and blah blah blah. What you want? We all know what you want for this team. You want to see in the Super Bowl. Y'all got the talent. Y'all been knocking on the door for years. What is it gonna take now to get for y'all to break through?
This year, I don't think it's gonna happen. I honestly think this year we're gonna take a step back. We have a good receiving core, but we don't have that one receiver. So it'll be receiver by commission, and I think that's gonna help Josh Allen a lot more. Our defense is young. We got young, fast DBs out there. We play both the safeties, unfortunately. Everything is just we trying to see how it will go this year, man. When you ask them about what they think about Miami, I said the same thing. I think Miami should win a division. This should be the year that Miami win a division this year. But I think that we're gonna be good enough to at least get a wild card spot.
Yeah. All right. So this is the question I have. Hypothetically, if Buffalo misses the playoffs, are they going to do something stupid and fire Sean McDermott?
Probably not.
Well, he's on a hot seat,
No.
allegedly.
I mean, I don't think
No.
the Bills would be that dense and just straight up fire McDermott. I mean, he's been their most successful head coach since.
That's a fact.
Right?
I agree with you, bro. But it was talking about how he's
It's
on
gonna
a
be-
hot seat. He got to get it done.
It's gonna take more. It's gonna take more than 1 year for him to get fired. Sean, he has he earned his right to have like what you were saying earlier, a couple years of grace. And he earned that. So it ain't gonna be this year.
Yeah.
So, you know what, too? Real quick, I think with Josh Allen, I think he's a stud. I think that you don't have Diggs yet. You don't have your number one guy. But if he's going to solidify his statute, I think this would be the best time because he could dish the ball to everybody else and make them look good. And I think that he don't have the pressure of have to throw it to one person or he's going to throw a tantrum. Let me open up these other guys. And I think that if he does wide receiver by committee, I wouldn't be surprised if he has like 4,500 yards.
That's on pace for what he normally get around. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I was gonna say the new offensive coordinator. You know, you guys kind of got towards the end of the season. It definitely seems like there's been an uptick, right?
Yeah, Joe Brady. What Joe Brady does is he runs the ball a lot more. He don't just come out and throw 3 straight passes. He gets James Cook involved a lot, whether it's like run the ball, swing passes. It's gonna open up. He opens up the offense for him. So when he first started, it seemed like a little slower, but once he started getting going, you start seeing like the potential that our offense can have.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, my biggest thing is I'm kind of with you, Buffalo. I think, again, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Dolphins fan. I think they will take a slight step back just because they changed so much on defense. And I understand why they had to do it because, again, it is the business and you can't re-sign everyone. Now, that being said, like, worst come to worst if something bad happens. And I brought up the whole firing thing almost in an ironic way because I think it's stupid and silly to continue to turn over, especially coaches that are actually good. And I think Sean McDermott is a great coach. If he gets fired, he'll get hired ASAP. You know,
big time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the thing is, and I've seen this so many times, and it's silly. And talking about like Grace, I mean, the one franchise, it's funny, the one franchise that is synonymous with success is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they don't do that. Like they they stick with you through thick and thin. And I mean, Bill Cowher had plenty of 8 and 8 years, and now if you have a team that has sustained success, but they have a couple of mediocre years, now it's automatically let's get rid of the guy. And Pittsburgh's never done that. It's worked well for them. So and I think Buffalo should do the same thing, and hopefully they will. I mean, if they don't, then I mean, wow, that would just be to just show stupid.
That's even more steps back.
It just would make no sense.
Yeah, listen, you hit on the money with my best friend's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I said it makes no sense. That I hate when ESPN like to run with their narratives. It makes no sense to try to get rid of Tomlin. He has not had a losing season. You know how hard that is. I think
He hasn't
sometimes
had a losing season since 2003.
Right, I think people forget like how hard that is, and at the end of the day, that man has to coach what's in front of him. So instead of we jump on the coach, let's take a look at the management team that bring in these players.
Yeah.
I think they take for granted that he's gonna coach them up. Just like when the Yankees had Girardi, they wasn't giving us top-notch stars like that. We're gonna get average Joes. You're gonna coach them up. So at the end of the day, you gotta play what's in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. So again, and Buffalo's an intriguing team, and I think I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting. They're gonna play tough. They always have.
Yeah.
Their defense is still gonna be tough, no matter what. I don't see. I don't see the rug being pulled under. I think a bad season will be 9-8, which is not
that's bad. That'd be bad. That'd be a bad thing.
I think your guys' division is going to be very intriguing. So I feel like from the Dolphins, the Bills, and even on paper the Jets, it's going to be real fun to see who's going to take that top spot. I don't put much into the Patriots. I think it's going to be like a 4-year rebuild because I think they really just don't have enough But you three, I think it's really the Bills and the Dolphins really gonna go back and forth because honestly, they put all the eggs in one basket in Aaron Rodgers. If I'm the GM, I'm already looking at who I'm drafting at my quarterback spot next year. But a lot of guys told me that they drafted a guy, I forgot his name, this draft, but he fell because I guess he had like a messed up ankle. Let's see what he could be. But if I'm on the Jets, I'm really gonna try to invest in my backup quarterback, the young guy they drafted, because you can't put all your eggs in basket with Aaron Rodgers. It's one thing who's still in the Packers, it's the system, but I don't believe in the Jets yet, man. I believe their defense, I just don't believe in their offense.
I don't know. I feel like that. I feel like that whole division is a question mark, to be honest. I mean, if you're looking at the Bills, right? I mean,
right.
Technically, the Bills still have Josh Allen, and he's pretty much a top 3 quarterback in today's league, right? Mm-hmm. But remember, right? They don't have Stephon Diggs. A whole chunk of their defense is gone. Starting with Trey White, and then you go on to the Dolphins, who lost a chunk of their defense too. They still have the offense, right? But I'm just still worried about that defense because they lost Christian Wilkins, they lost Xavier Howard. And, I'm looking at this Jets team. They have a good defense, but it all hinges on the health of Aaron Rodgers. And, he's 40 years old, and he's coming off of a Achilles injury. So you're really banking on him to really make a full recovery and just be able to play most of the season, which is a very daunting task, especially with the quarterback his age. But we'll see what happens. And then, and then the Patriots are the Patriots. So, they're in basically full rebuild mode. So we don't know what they're going to do within the next 3 to 4 years.
Hey, Jason, is Jalen Phillips, is he going to be ready for the start of the year?
So there's conflicting reports about that. I don't think so. As of right now, no. And I don't think. Don't make the foolish decision of bringing him back too early. I would just be stupid.
I like
they
that.
Drafted. Yeah, I love him. Yeah, no, I think he's amazing. They did bring in Chop. They obviously brought in the veteran. The veterans to kind of supplement what they kind of have. I mean, remember we also, brought back the guy we released. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The defensive end. So we brought him back. We caught him and then we brought him back. So defensive line. So our defense again. I think the defense are actually just going to surprise a lot of people. But going back, I'm going to end on this note. Going back, you said the backup quarterback for the Jets. And I'm going to tie back what we said earlier. One of the greatest guys I've ever seen play, Jordan Travis.
I'll say who the backup quarterback for the Jets is.
What happened?
Jordan Travis, bro. He's the backup quarterback for the Jets.
That's what you're talking about. That got hurt. You're talking about Jordan Travis.
Florida State.
Tyrod Taylor is the starting quarterback that ever played in the
And I was going to and I want to add him to one of the best Florida State players I've ever seen play.
He was a baller.
Good. So, hey, listen, guys. Thank you.
Hey, Jason, and I want to apologize for Georgia did the Florida State in the bowl game. It wasn't y'all fault. It was the NCAA fault.
Oh, 100%. I love. Hey, bro. In the words of Keon Coleman, it was a waste of time. That's why I didn't play.
Jason, thanks, man, for being.
We appreciate you, man.
So
listen, I'd love to do this anytime. You just let me know when, all right?
All right. Tell us where they can follow you on social media and everything, Jay, before you go.
Absolutely, brother. So follow at the Chutes and Ladders, our podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Me personally, it's at Jason Kuruvilla. And I'd love to stay in touch with all you guys. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
No doubt, man.
Appreciate you.
You all that Florida weather, brother.
Come out. We'll have fun.
Say less. All right, thanks, Jay. All right, we got Rells, we got Tay here. Let's go over this.
Hype, what up with it?
Hype in the building. Shout out to Hype. Again, shout out to the Philly crew again who pulled up on Tuesday. Hype, Nye Charles, Tyler Moore. They was talking to Eagles and Cowboys. So now we going to go back to the NFC East. We got Tay here repping the Giants. We got Rells here repping the Eagles. Shout out to Sports PSP. He wasn't able to make it. He'll be on with us for the draft kickoff. The season preview show. And shout out to Mo. He would have been here, but obviously he had emergency as well. So they'll both be with us September 3rd for our NFL preview. So Trey, I'm gonna start with you.
All
Obviously,
right.
let's talk about the Giants. Saquon's going. Obviously, y'all draft Malik Neighbors. You was here for the draft show.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, everybody's focusing on Daniel Jones and Dabo and Joe Shane based off everything from Hard Knocks. First of all, what was your thought of the Giants being the first team on off-season Hard Knocks?
Honestly, I'm very excited that my team is on Hard Knocks. I know everybody thinks differently, but when it comes to my team and us being shown in that spotlight, I think it really paints a picture of what really goes on in that front office, right? I understand that, us giving that, Saquon leaving us was, a bit of a big hole to fill for us. But like I said, I mean, it is what it is. We try to offer him as many contracts as we want, as we saw fit, and we just had disagreements on it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, now he's with the Eagles now, so it's just it's whatever. Like I'm over it. So like I said, I mean, running backs these days, I mean, what they're practically what a dime. I mean, if you took a look at our first preseason game against the Lions, right? Eric Gray and Tyrone Tracy, they're really good. They're really good running backs. They just haven't been utilized to their maximum amount of talent yet. So, like I said, I mean, if we do basically like a running back by committee, because we did just pay Devin Singletary this year, who is a serviceable running back, then we should be fine. I mean, there's nothing really I can say much about that. It is what it is. But going back to Hard Knocks, I mean, just seeing my team up there, I really enjoyed every episode. So, like I said, I'm not one of these people that likes to, clown my own team for being on Hard Knocks. It is what it is. We were chosen, and we just went out there and we presented what we have. So it is what it is.
All right, let's talk about let's address the elephant in the room. You brought up Saquon.
Yes.
Everybody who brings up Saquon, they bring up Daniel Jones' contract. Let's rewind back to last offseason. If you were Joe Shane, would you have franchised Daniel Jones in order to sign Saquon long term? Or, like you said, it is what it is now. The hindsight being 2020, what would you have done initially with Daniel Jones financially as opposed to what he got from you?
That's a very good question. I mean, if we were to franchise tag Daniel Jones, the franchise tag would have been at least you would have been looking at $32 to $34 million for a franchise tag for Daniel Jones versus when we franchise tag Saquon, it was what roughly about at least $11 million. So you're looking at least a $20+ million difference in franchise tag. So it would be difficult, right? Because like I said, you have a quarterback that, he wasn't necessarily was supposed to be drafted by us, especially at number 6. But, at the time we basically won a playoff game with them. This was pretty much the first season in which there was that small glimmer of hope for Daniel Jones, even though, yes, the critics like to say that, he threw for 15 touchdowns. But, but like I said, I can't really say because either way, I don't know. I feel like we would still be in the same position as we are right now. But if I had if Daniel Jones were to walk away from this team, then, I feel like we still would have been in the same position as we are now. The following year we went 6-10. I felt like we could have been a lot worse. But I digress. So it's really hard for me to assess whether or not we should have either franchise tag Barkley or Daniel Jones. Is really difficult.
How do you feel about your front office and your head coach? Let's start off with Joe Shane. Do you think he's done enough as a GM as far as roster wise? And then, what are your expectations for Dabo going into year 3?
I mean, honestly, I don't feel like Dayball should be anywhere near the hot seat because, because he was pretty much put in a position, right? He was pretty much put in a position left by Dave Gettleman and Joe Shane, where they just have to flesh out the rosters and just see what they're able to do, right? Now this year, right, we have a legitimate defense, right? We pretty much have what? We pretty much have our run defense covered, right? So, and then moving on to the offense, right? Moving on to the offense, it's still a bit of a question mark. We don't know what the offensive line is going to be, even though last night, I mean, even though it was a little bit rough down the stretch, but I feel like the offensive line played good. And then the receivers, I mean, we just got to go out there and just get the receivers going because if we stall out, we don't win games. So, like I said, I'm not expecting any big spot because, like I said, we're still in that rebuild phase. We're not there yet because we have so many. Well, I wouldn't say so many holes, but just like significant holes that still needed to be addressed, especially with the secondary, the offensive line, and then we're still dealing with Daniel Jones with the quarterback situation. So, like I said, I mean, I don't think Dayball should be anywhere near a hot seat, but critics will say otherwise. So,
All right. What about Joe Shane?
I feel like Joe Shane. I mean, I'm very happy with Joe Shane. I'm glad that he was able to manage to just at least back in 2022, right after Dave Gettleman left us in shambles, right? He was just able to do what he can with this roster. I mean, in his first year as general manager, we went to the playoffs with him, and then he continues to make moves that nobody would have saw coming. Like we signed a good middle linebacker last year in Bobby Okereke. No one expected that, and he's doing good. He's panning out to be one of the best middle linebackers in today's league. And then this current offseason, we went ahead and we traded for Brian Burns, who is a premier edge rusher, which is something that the Giants have been needing for the past couple of years now to help Kayvon Thibodeau develop, right? And yes, we gave him that contract, but we're gonna see how it pans out. I feel like Brian Burns is gonna pan out with this defense, especially with with our new defensive coordinator, right? Especially with our run game, right? So I'm very happy with how these free agent signings have turned out, and then the draft picks. I mean, most of them are hits, especially with Kayvon, and then now we've just drafted Malik Neighbors. But guys like Evan Neal, who I thought was just going to pan out for us, he's not really panning out for us right now. So, like I said, it's just with any other GM, there's some hits and then got your misses, right? So, all in all, I mean, I feel like Joe Shane has done a pretty good job considering, salary cap wise and roster wise. So I have no issues with him.
All right, let's go to Rells. All right, I know some of our Eagles families watching. So let's go ahead now. Obviously, we know how you had an up and down season last year with If somebody turn their phone down, give me I don't want to get an echo. Let me check my speaker. Hold on. But go ahead. Here's the deal. I was saying that obviously you think about y'all season y'all had this last year coming off being in the Super Bowl the year before, and obviously there was a lot of turmoil in the locker room and obviously Jay Hurts that stuck with him and AJ Brown. And now we got this article with Sirianni. Obviously, there's some about this whole situation with Sirianni. Let's get back to last year, how y'all season ended. And I asked this to our girl Taya Brand on the last show. I want to see if your answer is different. What went wrong last year?
Well, shout out to you guys. I think a lot went wrong. And, I think something went down with Sirianni and Jalen. I listen to a lot of like Philly sports talk and podcasts and radio. Um, it was internal beef. One, let's start with the defense before you even give to the offense. When you first of all you lose your defensive coordinator on top of your offensive coordinator. Okay, boom, you got that. Then you go with two new guys. Then midway in the season, which is totally unheard of, you get rid of your defensive coordinator and you get Matt Patricia, who's terrible, fucking terrible, right? You get this guy, you hear all the players complain about like who changes defenses, and then you gotta learn their patterns and their playbook, and then it was grumblings on the defense, whereas they say, "Yo, this guy sucks. Don't bring him in here because half us don't rock with him." Nobody listens to the players. Then it was beef there. Then you go to the offense, whereas they come off the Super Bowl run, right? Then a lot of the players, from my understanding, for a lot of the stuff I was listening to on the Philly side, that when Sirianni would call a play, or the OC would call a play, Jalen would change the play, and a lot of the key players agreed with it because they said that, yeah, we came off a Super Bowl run, but our plays are starting to be predictable, and
Mm.
we need to do something different. Give Jalen more of the playbook. He didn't carry us in that Super Bowl. We was a play that we could have won the game. So if he did that, and nobody, I don't care if you're an Eagles hater, you cannot deny Jalen was there as Superman in the Super Bowl. So when you see that growth, why wouldn't you open more of the playbook and expand somebody's growth? So Sirianni want to keep elementary school play style, which is predictable. It's like it was so disgusting the last, 6 games. It happened. It is what it is. Um, I think the hire of Kellen Moore says a lot. If anybody's paying attention, says a lot. I think the offensive style is going to be great. I think the wide receivers and tight ends going to be happy. I think, you know, even with Saquon, even using him in the passing game is going to be great. It's going to open the field up more, and we're going to have a guy who's a stud at running back, and now he's going to have no shade, but he's going to have the best offensive line in football in the past 7 years. He's gonna run the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if you have like at least 1,100 or 1,200 rushing yards, if that much,
Mhm.
because we also got weapons that we could throw to. But I know they're gonna feature him a lot because it's going to have pressure off of Jalen, which is going to also be good because they already said they're going to incorporate a lot of running plays for Jalen. So it's going to be a dynamic offense. I believe in Kellen Moore. Also, we'll see what's good with Vic Fangio. Jay can speak for that, when he was on Denver, but he has a lot of key pieces on defense. He is, he's spoiled by richness on the defensive side because we like top five in defense. Um, so I'm excited. I'm just a little reserved because I don't want the old ghost of when Vince Young used to say the dream team. So I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna say all that. I just want to see how we play. To kind of pick it back what the brother said with the Giants. My two says I watched a little bit of Hard Knocks, but I listened to a lot of Saquon's interviews that he's been doing. He didn't do a lot, but he did. What's her name? What's that woman's name? I think of it and I say her name, but she's be on ESPN, but she's on a new network now, and she had like a candid conversation with him, and he said that Hard Knocks do a great job on making stuff look spicy, but he said the only conversation throughout the whole season about his contract was only in that moment. He said again, Hard Knocks do a great job to make it look like it was some long drawn out thing. He said it was the year before when he got franchised where it was more spicier. Too bad the Giants was on the show back then. Then he said, "Yo, they brought me a contract. It kind of reminds me what poor George said when he was open about the Clippers. They brought me a contract and it was very disrespectful. And it's like, when I was doing the show, I had my researchers give me the numbers before I went on my boy's podcast. And Saquon Barkley for the past 3 years been 60% of the offense of the Giants. My thing is
Mhm.
this: if I'm the GM and Saquon Barkley for the past 3 years, especially the strong 2 years, been 60% of my offense, I'm not giving no quarterback no $40 million in that moment. I'm gonna pay my guy. I'm gonna pay my guy who's been the leader on the field and off the field, right? And he's been 60% of the offense. And not
I
for
see where
nothing,
this
if
is
I'm the
going.
GM, I would have a leg to stand on because no disrespect to Danny Jones, you haven't been healthy. You haven't sniffed throwing 20 touchdowns or more. Your interception rate is high. Okay, look what you do in clutch time. Your clutch time minutes in passing is terrible. So here's $25 million, and we're gonna franchise tag you. Show me, bet on yourself. Show me, and then we'll take care of you the year after. It's a smack in the face when everybody who's a true Giant fan knows that,
No, the front
and then
office felt like Daniel
$40
Jones
million
was the
dollars.
guy.
You
That's
pay
why
him
they
$40
paid
million
him.
dollars, and then Saquon's like, "Yo, we had a terrible line, and I'm holding him down, and then he's running for dear life." It's crazy to me. So when he left, and you even seen that moment, and then, even the owner was like, if you go back and watch that episode again, the owner didn't even want Saquon to go. He's looking at the GM like, "You have a plan? You drafted a quarterback, right? I mean, running back, right? We got playing stuttering and shit." And watch the other two guys sitting there. Just watch them sitting unpleasant because they know we may have made a mistake. And even if you were Giants fan say that you should have been got over to Saquon Barkley, cool, fair. But when somebody's 60% your offense and you can now this motherfucker really gonna have to earn that $40 million because you don't got Saquon Barkley no more. And like the good brother said, it's going to be running back community. But I hope they showed up the offensive line. A lot of my best friends are Giants fans. They tell me they did. So, they know their team a little bit better than me, but I just pay attention to football. Whereas, at the end of the day, they haven't had a good offensive line in the past 6-7 years.
Correct.
All right. Before I say you
I mean,
respond to that,
That's me just being
it
unbiased,
all
but
starts in the trenches.
I'm gonna let you respond to what Rel said in a second, Tay. But we gotta let our next guest in. I just did this show just a minute ago. Man, he's repping Bird Gang as well out of ATL. He's the host of the KC Sports Show. My man KC in the building. KC, you got the wings, bro. You good now?
Yes, I'm good. I'm so sorry I took so long. I was so
Good,
hungry.
bro. We know, man.
he got the wings
Man,
from the strip club.
this is disgusting.
Man, they were so I tore them things up. I had 15 pieces of them bitches. I'm sorry, they all gone. They are all gone. They are all gone.
Yo, lemon
All right.
pepper?
So we got
Lemon
we got
pepper and barbecue. Huh?
What were they, Casey? I didn't know what kind of wings, bro.
I got of course I got lemon pepper.
He got that good old lemon pepper.
All flats too. Hood
All
hood edition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Y'all nigga shit, you heard?
All right, Casey. We got my man Rells here repping Bird Gang with you. We got Tay here. Obviously, he's repping the Giants. I'm gonna let you just piggyback what Rells was saying. Well, I'm gonna let Tay respond to the stuff he said about the Giants, but let me get your thoughts. Me and you were just talking about the Eagles a minute ago on your show. And make sure you got that list because Mark, I want Mark to hear that list that we talked about earlier about the free agents.
Yo, KC, we got a link, bro. I love more Eagles fans, man.
Yeah, I'm a true and try Eagles fan.
So what if now Rails pretty much picked on why he think things went wrong for the Eagles. What do you think needs to go right in order for them to not have no more issues like they did last year?
Oh, that's easy. Coordination on the offense.
I trust that too, bro.
That's the main thing. We didn't pick up Saquon just to have him as a porcelain award. As long as we got Saquon running the ball majority of the time, then we don't have to worry about Hurts throwing the ball. But it ain't like Hurts ain't a good quarterback, a good passing quarterback. He was put under pressure and wasn't put in position to actually make decent plays. But I mean, the biggest thing is right now, it's our offense. We got a brand new offensive coordinator. Me and you talked about it this past show about the offensive coordinator coming over from San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. You want to see how he gels with Jalen.
You saw San Diego. You're not gonna get mad. You just saw San Diego.
Hey, KC, I pretty much did the same thing, bro.
Yeah, I heard y'all came in on the latter half of it, and I was like, I'm gonna let you rock out because I got some stuff to do. But as an Eagles fan, I'm happy with the defensive additions we added on as well. So hopefully our run defense won't be trash like it was last year because they was doing a number on us. I watched the Arizona game. and they made the Arizona running back. Now Connor ain't no slouch, but Arizona shouldn't have been running all on us like that.
He looked like Walton Payton back there.
Yeah, I was like, yo, that's crazy. So now we got a defense. Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, Walton Payton, like that there.
All right, Tay. I want Tay to respond to everything Rells was saying about the Giants.
Uh-huh.
When do you agree or disagree with what Rells said, Tay?
I mean, look, I get that Saquon he played a huge part in our offense. I mean, without Saquon, it would just been, whatever, right? But like I said, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do to bring him back now. If he feels like, well, he's a grown man. If he feels like he can go get a better contract somewhere else, then by all means let him do it. I'm not holding Saquon's hand anymore. It's just the fact that he went to a division rival that just makes me so upset. Like, I would have respected him more if he went to Houston or went to Baltimore or to
You should
any
be mad
other
at the
team.
front office. Don't be mad at Saquon.
I'm not mad at the front office.
Be mad at the front office. Did you not watch Hard Knocks? Did you not watch Hard Knocks?
I did.
I did. So you saw the stupidity in that front office on how they was like, let's say why would you let your top running back, the cash cow of your offense, test the market? And of course he's gonna go to the ops because y'all didn't treat him good. Why would not? I would go to the ops too, and they didn't even pay him that much more than what he was asking for. So all the Giants had to do was pay a little bit more.
Hey man, if he truly felt that way, then he shouldn't have signed that franchise tag in the first place. If you want to,
he did it out of loyalty for the Giants.
Or did that loyalty? I'm gonna take care of you.
He did it out that first franchise tag he signed. He did it out of loyalty because he wanted to stay with the Giants and thought they were going to do right next season, but they didn't do right next season. They just gave them his ass or the Giants' ass to kiss, and then it was like
our starting quarterback went down. Saquon was out missing for a few games. Our offensive line gave up possibly the most sacks in the league that year. Everything. It's not just on Saquon. It's everybody. Everybody was faltering.
You're gonna see how it's gonna be when Daniel Jones is anchoring your offense and you guys are 2-6.
It's not, man. It's not just Daniel Jones. It's a whole plethora of players. It's not a quarterback driven team. Like, football is a team sport, regardless of who the quarterback is. If you have a strong supporting system around the quarterback, then he's going to prosper. I know that we're not the Niners because the Niners are by far the best example of what a strong supporting system can do for a quarterback. Look at Brock Purdy. He was Mr. Irrelevant in that 2022 draft, but look what he's doing right now.
You gotta hold on. You gotta say no. I won't let people just say Brock Purdy is a plug and play. When they had Garoppolo was a horrible quarterback. He was
no. We can't compare Brock Purdy to Jimmy Garoppolo because Brock Purdy is 10 times better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So we can't say
Brock Purdy is 10 times better than
Absolutely
Garoppolo.
Is.
Yes, he is, but that's not a plug and play. Look, San Francisco's been built up over the past 7 to 8 years. Those players weren't just put there or pulled out of nowhere. When you look at the tight end, you look at the wide receiver core, you look at the defense, that was all crafted over years. Brock Purdy was put into play, but as a quarterback, you still got to perform. You got the weapons, but you got to perform too. No?
No, I understand. Your point.
Listen, I just think even for the Eagles, I think everything just got to come together. I think that Jalen got trusted Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore likes to throw the ball. I think that's less pressure on Saquon. But I also think that the defense is gonna have a hard time if we click in all cylinders because you got the tight end, you got the wide receivers, right? Then you got the running back. Then you got your quarterback. And I think this going also, of course, helps the defense because the defense don't have to be out there all day, every day. And then now when they get on the field, they're going to be nice and fresh. So everything just has to come together. I still believe Sirianni is on the hot seat because this shit has to work. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. I want Sirianni to succeed because the rumblings a little bit out in Philly, because you know I'm connected. Is they talking about fucking either Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick is waiting at the helms? And no disrespect, I'm sick of the Patriots tree. I'm good. So I'm rooting for
Hold on, Rel.
Sirianni to get this
Hold
shit
on,
right.
Rel. I got to respond to that. So I'm looking at my girl Mo from Broadcast Sports. She's saying, look, when they got C-Mac, they changed everything for them. So here's the deal. You're telling me if y'all had a chance to hire Vrabel, y'all wouldn't hire him?
No.
Just because of his connection to the Patriots?
No, not even that.
Not
I
even
don't think Mike
just to the
Vrabel is a great
Patriots.
coach. I don't think he's a great coach.
No, I feel like he was. You had a good running back. You had a great running back.
What you don't like, KC?
Mike, if you're talking about Mike Vrabel, I mean, what has he done to make you want to hire him as a head coach? Outside of you had a horse in Derrick Henry, which
don't forget they had AJ Brown before he got traded. Vrabel
right,
didn't ask for Brown to be traded.
You as a coach, when Derrick Henry went down, you didn't make the adjustments, and your team showed for it. Cats was just like, well, you ain't got Derrick Henry. We're just gonna act like you ain't got a good quarterback, which you don't, and Ryan Tannehill, and you can't plan for it. So that's what I'm saying. Mike Vrabel, the writing was on the wall. It was just a matter of they gave him the courtesy to say, you know what, you can step down as coach rather than just outright firing him. But I wouldn't hire Mike Vrabel off of nothing. He went to 2 playoff appearances in the amount of 4 years.
Yeah,
that ain't enough.
Going to the AFC Championship.
Cool, but I mean, what have you done? Like, what is like worth me adding you onto my staff other than you had great players, great support players, a running back, good defense, and a wide receiver.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because obviously you guys are both of your teams are in the NFC East, and obviously there's talk about a lot of with the exception of obviously Dan Quinn, unless he just really just stinks with the Commanders. There's a good possibility based on circumstance that all three of y'all teams that between you guys and the Cowboys, y'all all have new coaches going into next season. And you talked about Vrabel, but there's another Patriot man that's out there who was the guy who coached him. If y'all had a chance, there's been the rumblings about Belichick too. I'll start with you, Tay. Obviously, we know Belichick's history with the Giants was the defensive coordinator when y'all won the Super Bowls in the '80s with LT and under Parcells. Would you want Belichick to be your coach?
I think it just depends on the culture that you want to establish for any given team, right? I mean, Belichick, he's been doing it for a good chunk of his career. I mean, he's one of the reasons why the Patriots were successful with him in that 6-ring dynasty that they have, right? But at some point, the wheels just start to give out, and I believe that last year in Patriot land, I felt like the writing was on the wall for him.
All right, we'll start with KC and then we go to Rells. KC, would you be open to the idea of Belichick coaching Eagles?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just it'll be now. Listen, the Eagles front office hasn't made smart decisions in the past several years. I still don't know why. For the life of me, I mean, I understand why we let the last head coach go, but it still was a dumb move. Hiring Belichick would be. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I wouldn't be mad at it. He's won 7 Super Bowls. Granted, 5 Super Bowls. Granted, it was with Tom Brady, and without Tom Brady, he's only been to the postseason once. So he's like, out of how many seasons he had without Tom Brady? 3. He's won in 3. He's went to 1 postseason out of 3 seasons without Tom Brady. What does that say about Belichick? Is he?
No, listen. I piggyback what KC said. Like, if push comes to shove, of course you'll pick Bill over everybody. But I'm still rooting for Sirianni this season. But if I had to choose out of them two, I'll take Bill all day because he's gonna hold these motherfuckers accountable. And what you gonna say? You can't. argue with him because he's coming in with rings and respect. I just think that Sirianni's got to right the ship, and I think I was giving front office this much credit. They hired two new coordinators, and it was two respectable coordinators. And it was like this shit got to get right. It's like that they kind of like on panic mode. Like we got to get back to the big dance, and we need to win the chip. We went to the Super Bowl twice in 8 years. So all the success that we had, I think we need to put that shit together and do what we need to do. And the first 6 games is hard as fuck. So it all depends on how we play, how we click. Because it's gonna be some growing pains. I don't care what nobody said. You got the off season training, but it's not like how it was like back in the day. These guys barely really practice like that. They all talk about it. So I say by maybe game 3, things click. Hope that we stay healthy for the most part and do what we need to do. Get back to the dance.
All right, let's go to the other 2 teams that are not y'all teams. Let's start off with the team that was the worst team in the division. That was the Commanders. Obviously, they're going in a new direction.
I root for them on a low because I have a personal bet, but I like to see black ownership coming up in there. I like to see my boys from down in Maryland. They changed up a lot. It's like what they did with the Knicks. They came in and cleaned up a lot. You got Jaden Daniels. A lot of people, I know my man Caleb gets all the attention, but Jaden Daniels nothing to sneeze at. I put them above the Cowboys. They might be number 2 in the division.
I want everybody.
I know this recorded, so make sure y'all bring this up the clip. How they do on ESPN.
I remember this, Rells. All right. So, like you said, you brought up Jaden Daniels, me and the number 2 pick, Heisman Trophy winner, LSU.
I like it, Rells.
San Bernardino zone.
Hot take, Rells. I like that.
New ownership with Magic, and was it Josh? What's the name of the guy who was the Sixers owner? Him and Magic, they're not owners of the Commanders. And then obviously, now Dan Quinn's the coach. Obviously now you got it's supposed to be a new culture and all this stuff. But we all know until the Commanders until we see it on the field, they're always going to be a train wreck of a franchise. Obviously under Dan under Dan Snyder, it was just awful. But now that those days are gone, you're hoping that they can get back to some of the glory days from the time under Joe Gibbs and with the Hogs and everything. I'll go to UKC. If Jaden Daniels, what are your expectations for the young player going in at quarterback day 1?
I don't expect much out of Jaden Daniels. I'm gonna be quite frank. And I as an Eagles fan, I'm very disappointed in you, Rells. You should be on the stands of if it ain't green, then it needs to fail. Everything needs to fail in the NFC East. Everything is going to fail if it ain't green. So I don't know what kind of Eagles fan are you? You one of them moonlight Eagles fans? You like to root for other teams?
I don't know.
We don't do that.
I would question your buddy over there. I would question him.
I don't do all that. Everybody's supposed to fail.
Listen. The boys tell you I bleed green all day, every day. But LSU is a special thing in my heart, so I have to root for the boy. And like I said, I got personal bet. But listen, I'm a sports head. At the end of the day, you have call is what is. I hate the fucking Cowboys. I don't really care for the fucking Giants. And I have to respect that you got that man out of fucking ownership. Get him the fuck out of there. You got a black owner. You got a new GM. You got yourself a new coach, and you got my boy from LSU. I'm a USC fan, but LSU is always close to my heart. So,
I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. But when Sean Taylor was playing for the Washington Redskins, that's what they were called.
Yes, that was
I was not rooting for the Washington Redskins.
It's green all day, every day, baby.
Yeah.
It's green all day, every day.
I definitely was like scared for our quarterback when Sean Taylor was lurking in the backfield, but I wasn't rooting for the damn on Washington.
Brought to you by Hennessy.
Rest in peace to that man.
Rest in peace to Sean Taylor, man. That was animal on the field. He was a warrior. I couldn't say nothing more. I need his jersey. I gotta get his jersey. Actually, no, I don't get a jersey.
Nah,
All I
you
got
said it right.
Eagles jerseys
You said it right.
in my
Yeah,
closet.
get it
I got no other jerseys.
Nah,
but Eagles
nah,
jerseys in my closet.
Don't switch up now.
KC,
We got
get his
two
hurricane
Eagles
jersey. Don't get that.
Let's
Don't
switch
get
up,
that.
KC.
This night is
Get his
freaking
hurricane
great.
jersey.
This is
You're a
great.
fan of the U, right?
I got what?
This is great.
You're a fan of Miami, right?
I'm a
Of the
Hey,
U,
yo,
right?
Hurricane
his part
fan,
was
yeah.
talking.
Yeah, go get the Hurricane jersey. Don't get the command. Don't get the
Yeah, I'm gonna get the
Redskins jersey.
Hurricanes jersey. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Man, that's wild. All right, Tay, man.
Hey, yo, real quick, can I ask you guys a question?
Go.
Do you think, do all of you, somebody here from you brothers, do you guys think that the 49ers will be vulnerable if they trade Ayuk and still haven't signed the other big man they tackle?
Oh,
Trent Williams.
That to me is a bigger. To me, that's a bigger story.
Trent Williams is the bigger story than Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk is taking a page out of Debo book. Debo did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Yep.
I think
Because
Trent Williams.
that was Brock's Purdy one of his main targets was Ayuk.
Yep, I believe he
downfield.
was the leading receiver of the Niners last year when they went to the
Yep.
Super Bowl.
Yep.
I think Trent Williams is the bigger story, though.
He should be
I
the
signed
one.
Trent before I signed Ayuk.
It's not even.
Yeah, I
shouldn't even be
signed
a-
Trent too.
Should be another discussion. I'm gonna go to you, Tay. What do you make? What is your thoughts on Dan Quinn as the new head coach?
Like I said, I'm a Giants fan, so I root for everything that is against the NFC East, right? So, I mean,
Great answer.
like I
That's
said,
how
I
you're
mean,
supposed to answer it.
I'm rooting against it, to be honest. But you know, like I said, it's a new era for Washington, I suppose. You know, Dan Quinn. I mean, he was a damn good defensive coordinator when he was in Dallas. So now he's gonna take his talents. So now he's taking his talents from Dallas to Washington, right? I mean, hopefully it's a better. Well, excuse me. I'm just saying for that team. I'm not speaking for the entire NFC East because you know it is what it is. But for that team, hopefully it's a new change in culture where it's not Ron Rivera being a terrorist at head coach or you know Dan Snyder being a dreadful owner. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go into details, but I'm pretty sure that y'all have been reading up on your information. But like I said, I mean, new culture, man, new settings, and you know, Commanders have been, you know, they've been making some quiet moves in the off season. I'm not gonna lie, but when push comes to shove, I mean, they still have a rookie quarterback who we don't know is gonna be good or not, right? Even though he came from LSU, right? We don't know what their offensive line situation is, right? We don't know what their defense is, considering they gave up Chase Young and Montez Sweat to new teams, right? I mean, yeah, they still have Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, which are two damn good players. I will admit that they're damn good players. I don't know about the linebacker situation, and I don't know about the secondary situation. So it's just a lot. I wouldn't say there's a lot of question marks on that roster, but with Dan Quinn at the helm, who knows, right? I'm not really expecting anything from the Commanders this season. Maybe they'll go 7-10 at the very latest, maybe. But like I said, you know, it's a new culture, and we'll see how this new Washington team adapts to it. I would call them the Redskins, but they've went through 3 name changes in the last 4 years. So you know, I don't know what to call them anymore. So,
Hey, Tay, real quick. I want to pivot to your team real quick. Do you feel like one, you guys are in a rebuild, and two, what do you really want to see from your team in the next 2 years? Do you feel like Daniel Jones is that guy, or you want guys who are draft a real quarterback, not look like a corporate sponsorship like Eli Manning?
All right. So going to your first question, are the Giants in a rebuild? I would say yes, we are in a rebuild because if you look back in 2020, right? We went to the playoffs as the 6th seed, right? After we had lost embarrassingly to the Eagles, which, you know, I'm not shocked because that's the team that the Eagles were supposed to beat. You know, it is what it is. But I legitimately thought that, you know, we were just one of those teams. Yeah, we can go back to the playoffs next year, and, you know, we don't have to worry about anything much. And then 2023 just showed me how much of those holes that were on the roster came to light. And so now 2024, we're trying to fix whatever holes that we have, going from the linebacking core and continuing on with the offensive line, and then us drafting neighbors at pick 6, right? I feel like we're still in that rebuild phase because, you know, like I said, you know, a lot of stuff is happening. No more Saquon. Year 6 of the Daniel Jones experiment, which if he doesn't pan out, then he's out the door. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, if Daniel Jones doesn't perform well this season, he's out the door. There's no question about it. I wouldn't feel a type of way about it. I mean, like I said, he was just drafted at the wrong time in the wrong time, the wrong place.
He
right?
shouldn't have been drafted in the first round. That's
Correct. No. See, you're absolutely correct. He should have been nowhere near in the first round, but apparently the Giants front office saw something in this kid. You know, they feel like he could pan out to be the next Eli Manning, but
you
at the
think
end
it's
of
a
the day,
problem, bro? Do
we're
you
not
think
looking
that
for another
it's a
Eli
historic
Manning.
thing
We just
that
want a quarterback that's actually good, man. Like, this is not a knock on Daniel Jones because, you know, he's doing the best that he can with his abilities, but it's just not it. It's not cutting out well for us. Right?
so on that part, right? Because like I said, my best friends are Giants fans, so we had this debate, black and white. The elephant in the room. It's no secret that they never had a black head coach. It's no secret they never had a black franchise quarterback. Yeah, they had a backup of Tyrod Taylor and what Geno Smith. That doesn't count. I'm talking about franchise guys, right? And my thing is this: it's not just the Giants, but we're gonna stay focused on the Giants. I feel like you could keep covering up, like we had from Eli, now Danny Dimes, and then you had the backups. You know, my thing is like, yo, the only way I feel like the Giants could get back to glory is kind of gotta get off that bullshit that you only want a quarterback that's just gonna throw the ball. Your quarterback gotta be mobile a little bit. Gotta have that and you know, I don't know. And I ask Giants fans, they all agree with me. They say, yo, like they want ownership to think outside the box, be a little bit different. But it just unfortunately they're gonna keep doing the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. They even talk about they give it to Daniel Jones, they're going after these two white boys that's quarterbacks that's coming out. I'm like, God damn, maybe some diversity in the franchise quarterback.
I mean, I don't think that is mainly about like diversity because Daniel Jones is mobile. He can run. He got jets. That's one thing I cannot knock Daniel Jones for having.
No,
But
but I'm not just talking about not he can't run. But the thing about it is, you have black and white fans that said they would like to have a black quarterback because there's a lot of black qualified quarterbacks. It's just something with the Mara family that they don't want that.
well, maybe if like, look,
There's facts behind it too.
I'm
Don't
not
take my
saying
word
it's
for
not.
it.
I actually did some research on it, and you're 100% right. They've never had a franchise black quarterback or a black head coach with the Giants. But my thing is, right now, the way that the league is moving, if they don't adapt, they're going to die as a franchise. And if the opportunity presents itself to get a black quarterback that's at the top, and you're like, look, basically what I'm saying is, if the Giants happen to have the top 5 pick in the draft, and the Heisman of that year is a black quarterback. If the Giants do not pick that quarterback, then there's some credence to what you're saying in terms of they don't want to mess with it at all. They'd rather take something else, or if they take a lineman, you can call bullshit all day. That's what I'm
You want the
saying.
money?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but right now, the market is the market, and Daniel Jones is the quarterback until he's not. And once he's gone, then that's when all the eyes are going to be on the Giants for real. And at this point, you're a franchise that not even that far removed from 2 Super Bowls with Eli Manning, and you did Eli Manning dirty as hell by bringing in Daniel Jones, and then you bitched Eli, and he wasn't even hurt. I don't understand that. So this
and messed up his record.
Yes,
look what they do to these star players that hold them down.
That's crazy. And then
it's just the Cowboys.
Even though Eli was on the back end of the career back in 2019, but I mean, at the time, you know, that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. And you know, was anybody complaining about, you know, having a black head coach when Tom Coughlin won us those 2 Super Bowls, and now this whole color argument is now being brought to light? You know, I'm not knocking you guys on it. I just find it very interesting. You know, I just find it interesting.
Well, speaking of black quarterbacks, Dak Prescott. And me and KC had a serious conversation about this. So we all know it's the elephant in the room with the Cowboys. No CD's not in camp. Dak's gonna want a new deal. You got Micah Parsons wants a new deal. Zach Martin's a free agent. And me and KC had this conversation, Mark. And we said it. Dak Prescott is not worth $60 million.
He's not.
But and me and KC was talking about it.
He's the
how we get back to the point where hold on, I want to let Mark say this first. How do we get back to the point where we got to stop playing musical chairs on these QB contracts and someone just be like, you know what, I'm not gonna pay like because just because Trevor Lawrence got $55 million, I got to.
He's a more mobile Tony Romo. You know, it's just
$55 million.
Only problem is if you don't pay him the $55 million, who will be our quarterback?
But that's where you have to take. That's where you have to take your risk in either the draft or the free agency, because we keep resetting the market over and over and over, and we got cats that are getting $55 million that ain't even won a playoff game or been to a Super Bowl.
Right.
It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand this whole. I'm a reset the market, but I get it. But you guys. There is no way, no damn Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be this close to freaking Patrick Mahomes in salary per year. That makes no sense.
Yo, hey, man, getting out of fucking control.
Hey, that's like their future. Of course, they have to secure their future one way or the other, just like what the Chargers did with Justin Herbert.
If teams keep starting over with quarterbacks, you won't have no good teams in the league after a while. You only gonna have 2 or 3 good teams who got the top 3 quarterbacks. At some point, you're gonna have to take a stand and say, "I'm gonna pay this quarterback. I believe in this quarterback, and we can win with this quarterback, and that's why I'm paying him." I think that's why a lot of teams are doing it.
And Mark, not only that, Sean Watson fucked up the market. Watson fucked up the market.
Deshaun Watson effed up the market. The Cleveland Browns effed up the market.
Only the Browns, right? Only the Browns. People want to talk bad about the Daniel Jones contract, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
Hibbert and the other guy don't win a playoff game, and they get big time contracts.
I mean, Hibbert is the face of the NFL, and I'm saying that very gleefully. He's not the face of the NFL. I'm saying that. I don't know what this agenda is to make Hibbert the NFL like sweetheart, but they're doing it and they're trying really hard for it. But I say all that to say the way that the market is, all it takes is one team to say we're not doing this, we're not playing this game. You did it with the running backs, clearly. You do it with the running backs get done dirty. I mean, $10 million a year. You only got one running back.
Disrespectful.
You got one running back that's doing like 26, and that's Christian McCaffrey. That's another conversation to be had. But the quarterback market doesn't need to go get inflated like this. We just need to stop.
If you gotta secure your future, you gotta do it
Herbert,
the best way you can.
Herbert, not Hibbert.
Herbert, yep.
But
and keep in mind that even though Herbert didn't win a playoff game, he's still pretty freaking talented. Way more talented than Trevor Lawrence. I will say that much.
Trevor Lawrence.
Who did Trevor Lawrence beat in the playoffs?
He with 4 interceptions. He beat the Jags. The Jags beat the Chargers, and Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions. That game was not won off of Trevor Lawrence. That game was solely won off of the stupid coaching with the Chargers. The stupid coaching with the Chargers. The Chargers was up 20-something points, and then they let their bull lead. And that's the reason why the whole staff got fired. It was like, what are we doing in a playoff game? So
I'm not blaming Herbert for that loss either.
To his benefit, they won that playoff game based off of the other team losing the game. So Trevor Lawrence ain't really contribute to anything. He just got lucky. He doesn't make the best decisions as a quarterback.
Hey, KC, I hate, I'm a Broncos fan, so I hate the Chargers. But I watched that game. Brandon Staley, he and this is why I don't know if he'll ever become a head coach again. He got this complex where he got feel like he's the smartest dude in the room. And you over there trying to outcoach Doug Peterson, who's a Super Bowl champion.
He is a good head coach. High school.
But he was a quarterback in college, and now he's coaching defense. Let that sink in. But back to the Cowboys. Dak is not going to get paid until after the season. If Bush comes to shove, is Jerry giving Dak that 60, or is he gonna roll the dice and let him walk? I'll start with you.
They still have to pay CeeDee Lamb, and he's taking his sweet time with CeeDee Lamb.
He gets done before the season starts. I guarantee that.
The Cowboys are in a weird predicament because you got 3 marquee players in your franchise that you got to decide. One has to walk. I mean, that's just what it is. One has to walk. You don't got enough money, and you're going to be in cap hell. And that's just what it is. You're going to be, or if I'm the Cowboys, I'm gonna leverage and try to trade for something because
the Cowboys are screwed regardless of one of them.
KC, not only that, they don't have to pay Marcus Parsons really right now if they don't want to.
They got to pay.
He's still under contract.
They got to pay Marcus.
They got to pay.
Yeah, they got to pay.
No, we know they got to pay him.
They got to pay him.
Hey, KC, what we was talking about with Brock? We was talking about this with Brock Purdy. Why not?
Yeah, I was talking about this about Purdy. The Niners are going to have to pay Purdy at some point.
Why not start
next year, bro?
Yep, next year. Absolutely.
You get there to 2 years from now, we were saying it. Price might be up to $7 million by 2 years.
Yeah, no, John, you're right because it's looking in hindsight of I'm gonna pay you now because I don't. This is the reason why Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love got the contracts they got is because I want you now to pay this rate. I want you at this rate, so I'm gonna lock in this rate. It's like a house. It's like the housing market. It's like when the rates were low as hell. Everybody gonna go buy a house because the rates are low as shit right now. So then when the rates go skyrocket, you already locked in. That's the same thing with the quarterbacks. I want to lock you at this price, even though it might not be as advantageous for me right now, but I'm gonna save money in the long term because if you don't pan out, hey, I only take a small hit in the market.
Yep. Casey's right.
Exactly.
So that's my take on it.
I agree. Lock him up right now where you get that money.
Is this Mike McCarthy's last year's head coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's done. Yep. He's done.
My boy Mike
Jerry Jones is not going to work.
I would be very surprised if he still has a head coach job after the end of the season.
Percentages per CBA. He's going to be rich, but not 50 or 60 million a year because of where he was drafted. So basically, by him being the last pick in the draft, there's only certain much that the 49ers could pay him.
I would say somewhere north of 40 million, maybe.
Well, I think that's a great point. But if he hits maybe I'll put this on you guys. If he hits certain plateaus, how how an NBA player hit all NBA team, this, that, and this and that, but then they get extra money, is it the same way for the NFL?
Oh, there's incentives. That's why I think a lot of these veterans are not in camp right now. Because one, they don't want to be in training camp, and I think a lot of their deals are going to be incentive. Hey, KC, you got that list?
Yeah, I got it pulled up right here.
All right. I want you to tell Mark some of the guys you named that were free agents, that are still free agents right now. I want y'all to hear this list. Rells, Trey, Mike, Sam. Go ahead, KC. Shoot, bro.
All right. You want me to just go straight down the list? Just straight down?
Yeah.
So right now we got free agency. We got Ryan Tannehill. Davin Cook, Kareem Hunt, Hunter Renfrow, Julio Jones, Jason Peters, Shaq Lawson, Quan Alexander, Shaq Leonard, Xavier Howard, Stephon Gilmore, Patrick Peterson, J.C. Jackson, Eli Apple, Justin Simmons, Micah Hyde, and Ron Curse.
The fact that Justin Simmons is still a free agent is just bothering me.
But
Don't talk to
Xavier
me about
Howard,
that.
Xavier Howard is still out there too.
Come on, man.
Half
I
the
know
guys
how
getting
you
picked up
Broncos
doing
fans
funny
feel
things.
about Justin Simmons. Come on now, it's all right.
Hey man, look, it's going. They're going to all wait. Everybody's going to wait until the midseason where you can get a discount,
Right.
and
Right.
you ain't got to pay them full price, and then you'll just see.
Right.
You can just see what they going to pan out to be. Now, I say a few of these names on the list are kind of done in a sense. Like I think Stephon Gilmore is old and long in the tooth. Eli Apple should have been out the league years ago. He should have been out the league.
Man, I'm surprised he's still in the league right now. This is crazy.
I'm surprised he is getting starting positions in the past 5 years. I don't know how he's done it, but that man
got photos of somebody, man. Eli Apple was sorry. He got photos of somebody, man.
Hey, yo, real quick, fellas, let me ask you a question.
He got dropped off by training camp by his mama.
Yo, let me ask you guys this question. Do you think this is Kirk Cousins' last big contract?
Yeah, it's his last big contract. I mean, Kirk Cousins is how many years old?
I said,
He's 34? 35?
My bad, bro. My bad, Tay. I said, do you guys think that this is Kirk Cousins' last big contract?
Yes.
Yes.
Most definitely.
And
Because
I want his agent. I need his agent to negotiate my job.
I mean, shoot.
I'm gonna be clear. I saw Michael. Look, it's preseason. I don't overhype preseason.
Oh, I see it too, bro.
What you talking about, Mike?
You have to understand. You have to understand, right? That Kirk Cousins is how many years old? He's 34, 35. He's not gonna get another contract like that again.
No, there's no way.
Kirk will be in Atlanta for 2 years at the most.
Now,
Kirk is going to be a New York Jet.
If they gave him all that money, then why in God's name did they take Michael Penix Jr. at number 8? I'm still bewildered.
Hey, Tay, it reminds me of the Seahawks when they gave Matt Flynn that money and Russell Wilson came through and saved the day.
Exactly. Like, it makes no sense. Like, if that were the case, then Kirk should have still been in Minnesota.
I think Minnesota is ready, and they're going with J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, no, J.J. McCarthy. Well, J.J. McCarthy ain't even starting. It's Sam Darnold right now.
He'll be starting.
We talked about that whole JJ McCarthy issue, man. I said it on last show.
That's honestly what the Giants really wanted, but they couldn't move up. They couldn't find a
who? Wait, who wanted him? Who?
Wait, who wanted him? I think that's what the Giants really wanted.
No, they did not want no
McCarthy. We didn't want JJ McCarthy. Who said that?
Why would the Giants want McCarthy?
Man,
make that make sense.
I didn't want JJ McCarthy at number 6. Who said that? I know
there was talk about the Giants really was all in on JJ McCarthy, but obviously they did the right pick and went got.
I would like to take a look at those reports.
I don't understand how he climbed up so high on the boards. I don't get it. I watched the national championship game.
What's going on? It was the run game in that championship, man. It wasn't McCarthy. It was the run. It was the run game, pretty much.
I've seen some wild stuff before, but that quite far was the wildest. Michael Penix going as high as he did when they signed Kirk. I don't have any issue with Michael Penix going as high as he did. The issue I have is why did you sign Kirk Cousins for $100 million?
And the Falcons had so many holes on that roster too.
They got a lot of holes defensively. I mean, even though they got Jesse Bates at defense, but I mean, the Falcons it doesn't make any sense. You could have got a lineman.
No, Penix wasn't even supposed to be anywhere near the first round. Like, he was the projected.
They were going to go get old boy from Alabama, pass rusher. They thought they was going to get one of the pass rushers. When they saw And look, all three of y'all were on the draft show when it happened. Y'all were all three with us on the draft show when it happened. We was all like, what just happened here?
Yeah, the Falcons don't make the best decisions in terms of personnel when it matters. Like in the past 5 years, living down here and seeing the picks that they had, it didn't make sense. I was like, we've had opportunities. Now, let me use the Eagles as a prime example. The Eagles have made plenty of dumbass decisions before. We have passed up on Justin Jefferson. We took somebody from TCU. A spot right after Justin Jefferson got taken, and it didn't make any sense. But the Falcons, I don't know. Why would you go get Kirk Cousins? You know he's older than Methuselah. You know he's slower than molasses. Why the hell wouldn't you go shore up your offensive line versus? I mean, not even versus, but go get another quarterback to put pressure on him. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand the front office. Is it because you think Kirk Cousins is going to get hurt? Is that the safety net? Is that the reason why?
Yep.
I don't get it.
Yep.
Or they hedging their bets for the future.
That makes no sense.
I think that's what it is. I think it's a safety net, and they know in 2 years they'll cut Kirk Cousins. They'll get 2 good years out of him, and then they go cut him and let Michael Penix be the starter. You don't have to go draft another quarterback at that point.
Kirk Cousins got the $100 million guaranteed.
Man, you got a good ass agent. That's what he is. That's what he got.
I'm saying his agent is great. He got the cousin from OJ's trial. He got OJ.
You out, man. All right, Rells is familiar with this segment. Tate's familiar. So, Casey's your first time being on the show during this segment. It's called Calling Out Names. It's our boy Dolly's favorite segment. Shout out to Uncle Dolomite, Too Much Game Pod. It's a segment where we get to call out anybody in the sports world for something they said that sounded just off the wall, and we get to just say, what the heck were you thinking saying that? And we're gonna call them out by name.
Or you can shout out something that you hear that was good too.
That too. But calling out names was based off some hate, so therefore I just want to give you the full the premise of the segment. I'm gonna leave this segment off. I hate to do this because I love the woman so much. I gotta call out my girl Kimberly A. Morton. And let me say this: I love her. She can be the future Miss Watson. But let me be perfectly clear.
Deshaun?
No, Jonathan. I love Kimberly Martin, but man, there was a joke on the show, fellas, about me being a stand for Anthony Davis. If she stands for Lamar Jackson, like, so we basically we all saw the top 100 list. Look, we all talked about earlier about Tyreek Hill was number 1, but Lamar Jackson was number 2. Which means he was the highest ranked quarterback according to the players, and which means he was ranked higher than Mahomes. So Wednesday on First Take, Mad Dog Russo basically said, "How is he better than Mahomes?" And he couldn't beat Mahomes in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And I love my girl Kimmy Martin, but you don't have enough time to disrespect Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson. He's a top 5 quarterback, but it's time to just you got to win now. You got 2 MVPs. Played on Championship Sunday. Now it's time to go get the Lombardi. No excuse. You lost the AFC Championship because you didn't play well, but your dang offensive coordinator, your boy, unfortunately, Tom Munkin, formerly of Georgia, forgot that he had Lamar Jackson right there and forgot to run the ball and wanted to turn him into Donovan McNabb. No disrespect, fellas. I'm just saying. God. But he forgot that he had the most electrifying player in the sport and trying to make him a pocket passer in the biggest game of the year. Wrong time. That's the preseason to do that stuff. So I love Kimberly Martin, but let's not act like Lamar ain't had no shortcomings in the playoffs now.
Hey, man, Lamar had a prize pick on himself, man. He was trying to throw that game. He had a prize pick on himself.
But they'll be back. They'll be back. I'm not worried.
Mark, you got any other names?
Some of these people who are rooting against the U.S. basketball team because Jason Tatum.
Shot the cats.
That shit don't make sense to me.
Oh, it makes sense. They just want LeBron to lose.
Oh, okay. I got one. Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. Hey, man, Shut the hell up. He talking about he wanted the Team USA to lose because they sat down Jason Tatum.
I just seen that video on the way.
And I was like, bro.
Hey, Taze, if y'all look at Taze's screensaver, look who it is. It's Jason Tatum. We know my boy Tay is a Celtics fan.
Hey, so but look.
NBA champion. That's right.
Look, I'm gonna say this. I could care less. I could care less about him sitting. What's his name? What's the coach? Steve Kerr. I can care less about him sitting Tatum because I mean, in all honesty, forget all Boston sports. I mean, and I mean that with the most humblest of insults. Fuck all Boston sports because I don't care. He could have said him, and they still was doing great. Okay, cool. I don't really like Jason Tatum, to be honest. I'm not a Sixers fan. I'm not a Sixers fan, though. I'm a Heat fan. Yeah, same division. I'm not a Sixers fan. Hey, but same division. But Dave Portnoy, shut up, bro. We winning. This is the team that was supposed to win some years ago, but they assembled that trash team. I don't even remember the cats that was on that USA team, other than was Halliburton on that team? I think Halliburton was on that team too. Bro.
Yeah. Halliburton, the only two that didn't play yesterday against Serbia.
Rightfully so. I mean, this team the USA team is not supposed to lose at all, and they haven't. And listen, everybody was talking about that when the exhibition matches were going on, how they only won against South Sudan by 1 point. They were playing, they were resting. Those games don't mean anything. You see how they turned it up when it was in the actual bracket. I'm not about to go 100% on preseason when the regular season's right there. I'm playing. I'm chilling. So now you see Team USA. You got 4 Hall of Famers right as soon as they retire. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry, LeBron James, KD. Who else is starting on that team?
They announced the lineup for tomorrow is going to be LeBron, KD, Embiid, Booker, and Steph. That's the lineup tomorrow against Wemby and France.
Against France.
By the way, Rudy Gobert only played 4 minutes last game.
Bro, I'm sorry. Who? Wemby?
Gobert.
Oh yeah, Gobert. Yeah, Rudy should have been he need to give back all his defensive MVPs. I mean, as defensive player of the year, he need to give them all back. I don't see how he's won it. Would they just go off of how many blocks? Bro, you block enough guards. Yeah, you 7 foot. You supposed to block all the guards' shots. Yeah. But where's the defensive player?
He's a defensive player from Anthony Davis. He's going to be hero. But I'll shut up.
Man, don't get me started.
Man, he's still a defensive player for Anthony Davis. I don't care. Rudy Gobert should not have been defensive player of the year. You want to give it to Wemby? Cool. You want to give it to Bam? Cool. But don't tell me Anthony Davis wasn't one of the top 3 defensive players in basketball last year. Get that ish out of here with no dang Rudy Gobert. Go ahead, Rells.
My person is Skip Bayless.
What do you say?
Peace out.
Tremendous career, but it's time to shut the fuck up. Like, he was in his pod, he was talking about how I didn't do the whole farewell thing, like my partner Shannon Sharp did, blah, blah, blah. Then after he talked about that, he got big news to come and talk about LeBron James. Bro, he's trying to win the fucking gold. Shut the fuck up. Your podcast is trash. You got like 135,000 followers, maybe. Like, it's over. Okay? You needed another black man that has antics to fucking make your shows popping. From Stephen A to Shannon Sharp. You had 2 lightnings in the bottle instead of you being a fucking partnership. Because they do say Skip was pivotal in their career. But instead of being a true leader, say, you know what? Shannon's getting popping. I can continue to build on this, build with him. No, it got to be my way or the highway. Look what happened. You having a rotating cast. You try to be like First Take, and the shit fucking stinks. You fucking done. You're done. Shut the fuck up. Go be with Ernestine with your fucking pups and chill out the rest of your lives in fucking LA. Nobody wants to hear about you bashing LeBron. I don't give a fuck if you're a Jordan lover. That's fine. LeBron is still fucking playing, still doing what he need to do. Shut the fuck up, because the antics of LeBron this, LeBron that is old, and nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares you got your fucking connections with Lil Wayne. Just sit the fuck down, shut up, and go over to the sunset. It's new media nowadays, and that's it.
Go ahead, Tay.
I don't really have a specific person in mind. It's more towards like a group of people, right? I'll start with some of my own Giants fans who believe that Drew Lock should have been starting over Daniel Jones. Well, if you looked at that preseason game against the Lions, he was garbage, man. He was terrible. Malik Neighbors was open on that one specific play. He was open on that one specific play. What did Drew Lock do? He ain't do nothing. He just stood there, took a sack, and then boom, he got hurt. He got hurt. So I'm tired. I'm tired, man. Like, look, I'm getting to a point where okay, look, man, I'm not gonna hold your hand anymore. You either gonna do it or you're gonna be out of a job next season. It is what it is. But I'm literally gonna squash all of the people who said that Drew Lock should be this starting quarterback for. I'm like, no, get that garbage out of here, man. Like, he was terrible, and this is preseason, man. I'm not like I said, I'm not banking on preseason, but if you are having reps like that where you just pretty much stare down the receiver and not throw it in his general direction, I'm gonna have a problem. So, like I said, that whole entire thing is squashed. I'm done with it, right? And then hold on, let me see who's next on my list. Who's next on my list?
Oh, he got a whole shit list. Oh.
Yeah. So even though, right, that the Celtics won their championship, I'm still hearing rumblings from all sorts of critics, namely the Miami Heat fans, right?
Yes, sir.
No, don't yes sir nothing. Beat us in the playoffs. If we had Jimmy Butler and Tyler Rozier, it would have been a closer game. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. Oh, well, Tyler Hero had a better playoff series than Jason. Really? So where was he after game 2? Because I can. And I'm not saying you, Casey, because I know you admire the Miami Heat. I'm talking about some of your Miami Heat brethren that are still constantly foaming at the mouth, talking crazy about us, man. Get your people in order, man.
Hey, but look, check this out, though, man. I mean, we did bounce you guys out of the first round. What was that? A couple years ago?
No, we're not talking about a couple years. We're talking
y'all gonna settle that during the NBA season. We're not gonna do.
I'm just saying he wants to come at my team. I'm gonna come at his team.
The thing is, we're not talking about a couple of seasons ago. We're talking about right now. And if I recall, that final record was what? 4-1?
I'm just saying, you guys we your kryptonite, and just you caught us on the down year.
Would you like for me to pull up the record of the Celtics versus Heat all time? Because we're 83-53 against.
We're not talking about the past. We're talking about the present. And by present, I mean the past 3 years, excluding this little championship year y'all won. Ain't nobody worried about that, man. Everybody was down.
That championship, man, that championship holds more value than the Lakers bubble ring championship.
Hey, watch your mouth.
If you're willing to,
they said that welfare ring.
If you're going to sit here and say that the Celtics championship,
they said that stimmy.
I don't know about that championship.
I'll give the Lakers ring more presidents than the ring that the Bucks won when Giannis was there. I will give that ring, the Lakers ring, more presidents than the Bucks, because the Bucks only won because everybody was hurt that year. That's if Kyrie would have never got hurt the Bucks would have been bounced out of the Eastern Conference Finals. That's
and
facts.
Kevin Durant didn't wear a size 17 shoe. True. All right, but that's calling out names. Fellas, man, this was great. This worked out perfectly.
We have to do this again.
We're gonna do this again. Definitely, I see now. We already know we got 3 Eastern Conference teams because we know Tay's repping Boston. Now I know KC's repping the Heat, and if y'all don't know, Rells is the king of Knicks Twitter. So therefore, this is gonna be interesting when basketball season comes around and have y'all 3 on again to talk Eastern Conference. Let's go ahead and let everybody know where they can follow you. KC, let me start with you. Tell them where they can follow you out on social media.
I'm on all
your platforms, brother.
I'm on all socials, Twitter or X, TikTok, Instagram, the KC Sports Show. I use it, KC Sports Show, exactly as it's spelled. I'm the only one that's gonna pop up. Outside of like, there's a white dude using the KC Sports Show. I had to curse him out the other day. Anyway, yeah, follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, whatever you want to be on. I'm on there. Check me out. Most of my shows are either Thursday or Friday. Appreciate you guys for having me on, especially you, John. Thank you for joining the show too, man. Y'all, this has been a great show.
All right, Rells, tell them where they can follow you, my brother.
Yes. Thank you, fellas. Thank you. Follow me on all platforms, but definitely on X, Twitter, what we want to call it, King_Easy, or at Therapy in Sports. Your boy's getting married soon, so I haven't been that active. But after October 5th, I'm about to be on all platforms and hopefully be on everybody's shows. Just talk about sports. Peace and blessings to everybody, man.
Absolutely. And Tay, tell them where they can follow you, my brother.
All right, so the good people can find me over at Twitter, well, X now that people call it. My handle is listed in my name, which is right next to my name. So yeah, y'all can find me also on TikTok. Y'all can find me on Instagram. Y'all can find me on Facebook, and I'm also doing a YouTube channel, so that's popping off right now. And yeah, that's where y'all can find me at.
John, you on TikTok?
Yeah, but I'm not active yet. We got and Sports4U's on there. Nick gonna get that active once he's gonna get that active in a minute. But yeah, we got a TikTok at Sports4U podcast, so we gonna be active about that.
I got on TikTok.
Football season. But yeah, this was fun, and I'm gonna give you guys one last word to give each one of y'all team. Obviously, we got 2 Eagles fans and a Giants fan.
Wait. We don't got 2 Eagles fans. We got an Eagle fan and a half of an Eagle fan because he over here.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do me like that.
I mean, hey, man,
you like Sean Taylor. Don't do that.
Hey, I got a message, man. I'm just joking.
So yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna start with you, KC. One final message you want to give to the Eagles before the season starts.
Hey man, this is the final Eagles. Jalen, brother, I've been caping for you since the Super Bowl loss because you did your thing. This is your final season. If you can't get it together this season, I'm jumping off that bandwagon, and I will. Yes, I'll come back and reference everything that I've said and take it back wholeheartedly. I ain't even lying. So yeah, this is your final season. Show and prove, brother.
Rells, final words to the Eagles.
I'm gonna piggyback what the good brother KC said. Jalen, it was everybody else's fault. They gave you new toys. They gave you new leadership. It's on you. Put your big boy pants on. Do what you need to do. If you don't show up, it's time for the Eagles to draft a new quarterback because I ain't what the shits is. I'm more about the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey.
All right, and Tay, what's the final word you want to give to the Giants?
My final word to the Giants, Daniel Jones, this is make or break time. You've had 6 years in the league to prove yourself, right? It's now or never. If you prove yourself worthy to be in a Giants uniform, great. If not, then you know what? It's been a long, tumultuous 6 years. I hope you find employment somewhere else. And to the Eagles fans, right? that was talking crazy in my mentions all throughout the off season, right?
Yeah, fine.
I'm just ready for week 7 where we're gonna give you that thrashing that we gave y'all week 18 of last year. But hey, man, I digress.
I'm gonna just let you know this right now. If Saquon is
That
healthy,
was a stimulus
he's gonna
package.
run harder
If Saquon is healthy,
run
and that's a big if,
harder
right? Because he's
than-
injury prone, right? That's a big if.
What's my man
So good
from
luck with
Kansas
him.
City? What's my man from Kansas City? The running back from Kansas City. What's his name?
Pacheco?
Why am I
Isaiah
drawing a blank?
Pacheco.
Pacheco.
Clyde Helaire, whatever his name is.
No, Pacheco. You know how hard Pacheco
Oh,
be running?
Pacheco.
That's how hard Saquon about to be running, and he gonna go to the sideline and point at your coach.
Y'all gonna wish y'all had Saquon. He gonna look so good behind the beautiful line. Woo!
All right, we'll see. He gives you 1 yard to carry and then breaks out for that one good run. And then
hey, Saquon's gonna be on the Eagles Hard Knocks with a cigar going. That's all I'm gonna say.
Watch that.
Wow. And on that note, we gonna get up out of here. Again, thanks to KC, thanks to Rells, thanks to Tay to talking NFC East with us today. Again, Tuesday, thanks to Hype, Night Charles, Taya for talking NFC East with us. Next week is NFC AFC North. We got our girl Christy's gonna come on talk some Bears with us. We got our boy Paco gonna talk some Cleveland Browns with us. And I got a couple other people I'm working on trying to get to join the show to talk more NFC and AFC North. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to Sports4U Podcast on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on X and Instagram at Sports4U Podcast. Follow me at John Watson 0984 on X and Instagram. Follow Mark on Instagram at HighOnMark and HighOnMark1 on X. And then follow Nick on Twitter and Instagram at 99Gorilla. He'll be back next week as well. And then, again, make sure y'all follow KC, Rells, and Tay. When I repost this episode, their social handles will be on there so you can follow them as well. This has been the AFC NFC East. And again, shout out to our man Jason earlier from Florida for talking Dolphins. So shout out to Jay as well. And make sure y'all follow Shoots and Ladders podcast as well. This has been Sports4U. I'm John. That's Mark. We got KC. We got Rells. We got Tay and Jason. Shout out to my man Bill in the house. He'll be on for the NFC South. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good weekend, y'all. Peace.